So you two have been, involved with Aardman and especially Shaun the Sheep for a number of years now, and now you're this is your first feature that you're taking the helm on. I mean, has being involved for so long been, an easier transition for you guys?
I think yes is the short answer. It's been really helpful just to be involved in Shaun's universe, sort of know him as a character and Bitzer and the farm and how their sort of relationship works together, but also just to sort of understand the stop motion process and how Aardman makes films, so that we're sort of well immersed in sort of the sort of Aardman style of comedy and storytelling. So sort of to be able to step up and sort of helm one of these films is a fantastic honour, but at the same time I feel sort of confident in ourselves that we could do it.
Yeah, I think, Rich and I have worked from different backgrounds, but actually I think we complement each other really well because we've got Rich is insanely good at story and comes from storyboarding, so was really an amazing asset as a director to be able to visualise everything that we didn't have. Yeah. And I come from the animation background, so I guess I know the floor and the way the studio floor works, and between us it felt like it was a really good mix.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, because you've obviously come from different backgrounds, does it make it easier to work with each other? So you've got one set of ideas.
Totally. We can sort of rely on each other's strengths and go, I'm struggling with this, how would you approach it? And then sort of go, well, you could do this, you could do that. Sort of really, really helpful to be able to sort of call on a whole other sort of area of expertise that sort of I'm not totally familiar with. I know, but I'm not totally sort of strong with. So Will sort of gives me the confidence to go, that's fine, you can go and do it that way. Yeah.
And Farmageddon, obviously, it goes down the sci-fi route. This is a first for Aardman, isn't it?
Yeah, Aardman's first sci-fi film.
So, I mean, what was the decision of going down this route?
So on the first film, the idea was that Shaun would leave the city and go on an adventure to find the farmer. And then so we had the idea, okay, what could we bring to the farm this time around? So we tried a lot of different things until someone said, we could bring an alien to the farm. And then all our brains lit up. And so we went, okay, we can play with sci-fi genres, so we can change the farm to sort of have huge, wide sort of cornfields, sort of Midwest setting. We can sort of like play with the idea of like secret government organizations, hiding in plain sight, going into outer space, everything. And then sort of like, it just sort of snowballed from there.
There's very few sci-fi comedies as well, so it feels like a really good, like quite a unique fit for Shaun.
Yeah.
And because there's actually no dialogue as well, I mean, does that make it easier to cover the story or?
No. No, we've worked really, really hard to try and get across. There's a few key story points that we spent literally months trying to work through visually. And I think we've got what we've got. We're very happy with the way we tell the story. But there are times when you just wish you could use a bit of dialogue to explain a tricky story point.
Yeah, I can imagine. Actually, it's quite hard to visualise certain aspects. So we've got this adorable little alien, Lula. Apparently there was a reason behind her name.
I'm a big fan of space exploration, and so we had a code name for her, which I can't remember now, but so I went away and I was looking at all the different sort of rockets and instruments that we've used at the space race and things like that. And so her name is based on the lunar lander. And so I took the first two letters of those. So for a while I was looking at the Saturn V, so she would have been called Safi. And I was like, no, I don't quite kill her. But I liked Lula. Lula just seemed to click. And I went, she's a Lula. And then sort of walking on going, hey, what do you think of Lula? And just to see if their face would go, who? And they went, yeah, it's a really nice name. So it just sort of found its way. Yeah.
And she's obviously a bit more, it seems a bit more mischievous than Shaun herself. So what kind of things does she get up to?
Well, when we first meet her, she's actually quite scared. We think she's scared, but as soon as she's let out and meets Shaun, she starts creating havoc in the form of she can mimic things. So that's her first skill. She gets them into quite a lot of trouble through mimicking, but she's also got basically any alien powers we decided would work. She can lift things up, she can glow. What else can she do?
She's got telekinesis, so she can move things with her mind.
Oh yeah, mind meld. So she can tell stories with her mind power as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately, she's a bit like Shaun's peer. She's a kid who quite likes. Well, doesn't really have any boundaries, and that's part of the story.
Yeah. She's got a bit of a sweet tooth as well. I saw a clip earlier.
Yeah.
That's right, because ultimately, if you were an alien and you found yourself in a supermarket, you'd probably try everything, which she does. Yeah. But ultimately, the sweets are what get her most excited.
And it's Shaun, obviously, he likes to still have fun, but he seems to be like to be the parent here. He's trying to keep her a little bit more under control.
Yeah, so the idea was that, so back on the farm before Lula arrives, Shaun is causing mischief as usual, but it's always sort of Bitzer getting in trouble for it. And so we thought, well, what if we gave Shaun a peer that sort of he had to sort of perhaps grow up a little bit and look after? And then he's sort of like, he's totally out of his depth. Like, he's got no responsible skills whatsoever. So he has to sort of learn as he goes. That, like, there's a reason the way Bitzer is the way is. He's trying to look out for his friend or his brother. He's not trying to just be a killjoy all the time. So that's what Shaun has to go through.
So we've obviously also got some other new characters as well. Can you talk through those as well?
Yeah, so we've got a lead villain called Agent Red. She's like a sort of a government agency, secret government agency, who's on the hunt for aliens. And her sidekick is a robot called Muggins, who is basically a fairly useless filing cabinet with tank tracks. He thinks he's quite important, but actually everyone ignores him. Yeah. But in the end, we think he's quite sweet. And then there's the hazmats, who are a huge sort of army of these yellow-suited nincompoops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're utterly useless. It's just, for them it's just a job. Agent Red takes it very seriously. She's hunting for an alien to keep, but it's just a 9 to 5 for them. They're just having fun. And like going out to investigate like areas is just like a day trip when they're like kids. We think of them, they're like the sort of like human equivalent of the flock, so they're just having a laugh and they're sort of getting up to mischief, whilst they're just infuriating their boss constantly with their sort of incompetence.
And I mean, with stop motion animation, it's obviously a long process. I mean, how long did this take to bring it all together?
It takes about 2.5 years for the film, but actually more of that time is spent developing the idea and trying to lock it down, because with stop motion you can't shoot multiple angles and you can't shoot stuff you don't use. You have to be really quite linear about it. So we spend a 1.5 years storyboarding the film and writing and then designing all the sets and the puppets and building. Yeah. And then about 9 months of actual animating with a team. So there's about 140 people in the crew by the end all working.
So you're glad it's all over by the time it comes to an end?
You definitely want a little break at
the end. So if you had the privilege of taking the helm of the next film, which kind of route would you like to see it go down? Have you thought about maybe a superhero route or?
Ooh, don't know actually. We always talk about ideas for Shaun the Sheep. There's sort of loads of things bubbling over. Like, I'd love to sort of do maybe a sort of fantasy movie with him. Would be fantastic. Sort of wild animals and things. Or someone else the other day was saying, what about a western?
I can see that.
I can see that. Yeah. I just think he's such a sort of lovable character that you just want to have him go on loads of adventures in different genres and just sort of like see the sort of crazy Shaun the Sheep version of a western or a horror film or a sort of fantasy movie and see where it takes us.
Take a bit more adult as well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously this is a big success with adults as well as kids as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Great,
cheers.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,